The game that I have sunk the most time into during the last 2 months has absolutely been the Gameloft developed kart racer Disney Speedstorm by some margin. And up front, I'm going to state two quite important things about this. Number one, this is the bit that will make you go, oh, it's probably the best feeling kart racer since Mario Kart. You know, we've just been talking about Mario Kart 8 as the pinnacle of that kind of franchise, the pinnacle of that kind of genre. This feels as close to that as you can do in terms of handling. It's a very good controlling kart racing game, very fun to play. But number two, it's also probably the most egregiously monetized and predatory free-to-play game I've ever come across.
No.
And I will mention a bit later why that's such a big problem, especially for someone like yourself that I know, really struggles with that sort of model. But I've now played the game for probably 50, 60 hours. And I've thoroughly enjoyed basically my entire playtime, but I can't help but step back and think about everything from its like general setup, its design, from the intro to the menus, through racing, post-game, all of it. It's just set up to try and wring money out of impressionable kids, out of Disney adults, or anyone that struggles with kind of like FOMO when it comes to live service games. So it is really heavy in a way that I haven't played enough free-to-play games to say whether this is the norm. But if it is, that's even more terrifying than me just seeing it in one particular example. So if I say the good stuff first, as I mentioned, the driving feels really good. The drifting, the boosting, the dashing, the barging, the grinding, all the different things you can do, it is really best in class. And that's not me exaggerating. It's very good. It borrows from a lot of different kart racing games, but takes the good stuff from all of them. So it's got the boost system that's kind of more from Crash Team Racing. It's got the general drifting and all-terrain racing like underwater, through the sky and everything from Mario Kart. It even takes elements from Chocobo GP's power-up system. So all the things I like are here, and it feels really solid because it's drawing from the best to ever do it, basically. Yeah. It's saying, who else did this well? What can we take from that, and how can we maybe just tweak it a bit so it suits these characters in this world? The tracks are really visually varied. They look great. They're thoughtfully planned as actual raceways. They draw from a whole range of Disney IPs that makes them feel like properly fantastical. So there's proper set piece moments. You're leaping into the Cave of Wonder from Aladdin. You're drifting around a pirate ship that's under siege from Pirates of the Caribbean. There's some proper kind of exciting filmic stuff here. And again, it rivals much of the best from Mario Kart's recent offerings of like, thunderstorms going off as you drive through the sky and stuff like that. It feels really good. Another really nice thing, it pulls from Chocobo the way that game has a limited number of tracks, but lots of track layouts within those track sort of setups. So you might have like a single Little Mermaid track, but you can race it 7-8 different ways kind of thing. So you don't get bored of the actual racing itself, even if the visuals seem familiar. It means that, you might be racing through Riley's mind from Inside Out again, but it doesn't matter because you're seeing new things, or you're getting used to a new configuration or new twists and turns, whatever. The music, which is actually what led me to the game in the first place, is absolutely bananas. Like someone I follow on Blue Sky, chazhodges.bsky.social, if you want to hit me up over there, because I've left Twitter entirely, so that's where I live now. The music is entirely comprised of truly unhinged, I would say, drum and bass or Eurodance remixes of Disney classics.
Incredible.
So it's
I'm downloading it now.
It's things like You've Got a Friend in Me, but dubstep, or Do You Want to Build a Snowman, but it's got like a 4 to the floor kind of like dance beat donk on it.
Incredible.
It's so stupid, but it's never not enjoyable. And there are so many songs in it. There are so many songs on this playlist. A more functional positive as well, and this is something that in the right hands I think is really nice, is that if you just want a game to play that's strictly couch multiplayer, you're absolutely sorted, because if you're playing offline, either single player or with friends and family on your couch, you can access every track, every player. It's just a racing game you can play for free. And I think that in itself is a nice, generous thing. So if you just want a casual game to play, you're a bit bored of Mario Kart, you want something similar, and you want to race around as some familiar characters, it's there, everything's there, just enjoy it. The free-to-play game, though, the meat and potatoes, the money side of it all. Thankfully, play itself, outside of like the odd daily events, are never energy bound, because that's another big worry with these sort of games. You can basically take part in all content, all online races, everything like that, until your heart's content, and there is a lot to do. Like, I've never picked up the game and got to a point where I'm like, there's nothing left for me to play. There is stuff to do as long as you want to do it. There's endlessly refreshing seasons of events and races. You know, you can do each event multiple times if you want different rewards, whatever. You can keep going forever. The entire game, though, is built around, like I mentioned up top, generating a sense of FOMO, not only for specific characters and cosmetics, but also for character level and the power that lets you actually compete online or even beat some of the later single-player content that I've mentioned already. And that's not so cool. Even less cool, there are multiple currencies to track, as is common to this sort of game. So you need, I'm going to try and get this right, racer shards, which allow you to unlock specific characters, upgrade points, which allow you to boost any of your roster if they have enough character shards from the first bit, season coins, which allow you to open loot boxes, tokens, which allow premium purchases and premium loot boxes, seasonal coins, which allow you to open seasonally specific loot boxes, multiplayer coins, which allow you to open loot boxes that center entirely around multiplayer icons or slogans and God knows whatever else. It's a lot. And on top of all this, there are so many different bars to fill and level that it took me probably the first few hours of playing to understand what I was doing, what was progressing, what I was achieving, what I was feeding into, and where I was supposed to be spending any time even. So it's not a game that's like, do this first and then you'll get a feel for what comes next. It's just a constant assault to know, what does this currency do? Who am I improving? What's this experience going towards? And it's a real just mishmash, like a shotgun blast of stuff in your face all the time. Every single character has their own power level and their own multiplayer level. Each support character has their own power level. You have a collective multiplayer level that combines multiplayer progress across all currently unlocked characters. You have a collection level that keeps track of how much you've unlocked across the whole game. You have a season pass level that dishes out rewards based on how many seasonally specific things, goals, events you've completed. There's almost certainly more, but the early game is such an assault, like I said, on your senses after each race, desperately trying to drown you in just as much dopamine as possible, that you will either quit cold turkey after just a race, or you'll need to go and have a break for well-needed sensory regulation before you come back. Or, the most worrying one, you find yourself addicted to the loot of it all, and then you're suddenly desperate to spend 80 real-world pounds to unlock Baloo from the Jungle Book, or something like that. Because this is what it does. It's like you start logging on, and it's like there's a deal on, and you go, okay, I don't need the deal. And it's like, we'll show it to you anyway. And then it pops up, and it's like, the witch from Snow White. She's £100 if you buy her now. And it's like, this is mad. This is absolutely mad. And for me, someone who has no Disney affiliation, like I said back when I was playing Dreamlight Valley, I don't care. I'm not a Disney person. I've avoided the draw to drain my wallet at all because I don't care who I'm racing as. I'm just enjoying the racing. So, I've actively played for close to 50, 60 hours. In that time, the only money I've spent is for a season pass that was £7 to let you access the stuff you unlock from that season. And that sort of value feels fine because I've definitely played for more than £7 of game. That feels okay. I do feel, though, that this is probably the minimum you can spend if playing regularly to make your experience not feel like a waste of time. Because again, so much of the game is like you're closing welcome pop-ups or post-race reward screens that are saying, this is what you could win, this is what you could get, this is what you could unlock if you were just paying a little bit more. And for someone that is easily drawn into that, I think that can be really dangerous. Because it's bits like, if you break your multiplayer streak of wins, it's like, a few tokens, we can sort that out for you. Call it a quid. We'll keep that multiplayer safe. And again, maybe in the moment for some people, if you've got a big streak, you go, it's just a quid, isn't it? But I think it's a very slippery slope to start being like, it's just another quid. It's just a tenner. It's just 20 quid. I've only spent 40 this month on that, and it really does add up. And it's other stuff like it's saying, oh, do you want to do that race? You do actually need Steamboat Mickey for that. And then you go, okay, I'll do something else. And it's like, but Steamboat Mickey's only £20. Do you want to give us £20? Because then you could do this race. And it's relentless. It's really, really relentless.
That sounds horrible.
And this part is. And it's just, I think it's even grubbier, though, than a lot of free-to-play stuff because there's an inherent cynicism in building a game like this around massively popular IP like Disney.
Yeah.
So once more, for those in the back, I'm not a Disney adult, as I mentioned. But if I were the type of person who was obsessed with Nightmare Before Christmas or Frozen or something like that, the amount of real-world cash the game allows you to spend on unlocking, dressing up, then leveling up, say, Jack Skellington or Elsa is quite worrying, I think. And what is really frustrating to me is knowing that deep down, I can't recommend a game like this because its monetization absolutely torpedoes what is otherwise one of the best kart racing games I've played. And that's really miserable because it's like in the here and now of the few minute races you're doing, it feels great. And it's only when you jump back to the menus, just like, oh, fuck, we're here again. And I think if you're a parent with kids who are into Disney, do not install it. If you're an adult that finds it a bit easy to get wild with digital spending, Jonathan Dunn, I'd steer clear as well. If you want a party game and you can sort of blinker out the klaxon and ticker tape menus, there's good stuff there. Because like I said, you can just play it for free indefinitely if you're just playing offline races with your friends and pals. And if you're uninterested in Disney full stop like me, you can probably play enough to kind of get underneath the capitalist wrapping. But it's very much a game of two halves. And the reason I've spent the time really pulling apart the tendrils of how this thing ticks is because if you're uninformed, you could get really bitten here. So it's a game I'll say, for what it is, I enjoy racing around tracks. It's fun to go, oh, I've unlocked someone organically with no money. It's just taking a little bit of time. But you can't recommend it for someone that's going to go, I just might subscribe, actually. I might just give them a few pounds. I might just, it's too much. It's too much. So it is what it is. It's a game that I'm enjoying, but it's a game that I cannot recommend really to anyone.
It's a shame. It's a shame because I would like, honest, I would happily pay £70 to buy that game.
I would completely because I would get my money's worth from it, and knowing that there was kind of like a content map that was beatable and finishable again is more appealing to me, and all these other things that would just make it feel more like I've paid for a product. Yeah. Yes, it doesn't mean I'm going to get an infinite slew of characters until I die, which is obviously the kind of model that these games go for to keep them endlessly regenerating, endlessly popular. But it would make me personally feel a lot more fulfilled. So yeah,
it's a shame.
Gameloft.
I'd love to play this game with Nora. Like we really enjoy playing Mario Kart together. Yeah. I don't know if Disney Speedstorm's got the same sort of thing that Mario Kart does, which is having like auto accelerate and auto steering.
It's got both.
That. Well, there we go. But if I can't turn off all of that, I thought, I might give it a go. I might give it a go. There's no way I think I'm like, touch wood, I think I'm beyond like the pitfalls of those sorts of things.
That's good.
I trust myself to give it a go and look at it and go yes or no. But yeah, it will be a case of like Nora goes, oh look, can I play as Elsa? I'd be like, yes, but I will have to play the game 24/7 for the next 2 weeks to unlock her. Or
this is it.
Take it out of your pocket money.
Yeah, and it'll be the pocket money until you're 27 as well, because of the ludicrous cost of these things.
Yeah,
like the numbers I gave.
Give her pocket money.
But like the numbers I gave to unlock those characters, they weren't joke numbers.
No, I know.
That's genuinely
well from things. It's awful,
and it's absolutely awful. As well from being at school. Like when kids are excited about a new like Fortnite character or skin or whatever we call them, I always say like, oh, do you unlock that? Is that something you can unlock? And most of the kids are like, yeah, I mean, there's the battle pass. So if you're paying for that, you get it at the end. So that's like 50 hours of play minimum. Or Peter Griffin costs $79.99 or something like that. And just the names and numbers make me feel like I've been like kicked in the head.
Yeah.
Like it's beyond my understanding.
It's mad. And it's mad that I know full well that you can convince yourself that it's worth having.
Yeah. Yeah. And many people do. And that's, that's how these things exist. And that's how these things make money and continue to exist.